Steph here from thegoodride.com. We are here taking a look at the Space Metal Fantasy from Capita. This is the 143. This is a park-friendly, jib-friendly, and/or beginner, playful, rider-friendly snowboard. It comes with a flat camber in between the feet, going to rocker on the nose and the tail, and then you get some very abrupt kind of kick up in the nose and the tail that add a little extra pop and energy in ollies. It comes with a 4 out of 10 flex. It comes with an extruded base, but it's a little bit of a higher quality extruded base that's supposed to be a little bit more durable, a little bit more hard, and doesn't require a ton of maintenance. So it's been a while since I got to ride this board, but it is still a favorite. It is one of very few women's specific jib boards out there. With a softer flex, but also smaller sizes, which I think is really cool. I got this in some spring conditions up here in Mammoth, but also I got to ride it at Kingville up in Tahoe area and some couple other places as well. The Space Metal is it's super easy to ride. It is playful. For me, it's kind of like it brings me back to what snowboarding was all about for me. It was about having fun, and this board definitely embodies fun having on the snow. Yeah, so the Space Metal, it kind of has two lives. It can either be a forgiving, easy to turn board that you can kind of take in a lot of different terrain options, or it could be a really good, playful, jib-friendly park board. And I feel like it does really well at both of those. It's easy enough for a beginner to figure out, or a really mellow rider, or someone who is not worried about all the technical riding stuff and just wants a fun board. Or if you're a more advanced rider and you just want a really playful board that you can take on rails and hit jumps and kind of play around in some slush snow, the Space Metal kind of fits in both of those worlds. It is a soft flex, but having a soft flex and also kind of a more reverse camber type profile, it's not a super noodly board. It definitely holds together a little bit. And I feel like the flat camber in between the feet helps with that. So it's super loose on the snow. It's the type of board that can pivot around in a circle. You're not going to catch an edge. It's just kind of like a free-flowing snowboard that likes some good condition snow. It's not ideal for a really icy day, but if you're seeing good conditions and you want to just go out and have some fun, this board would be good for that. You can ride it on the steeps. It's fun. It's not a hard charger. It likes small turns. You can definitely pivot the board around and make some very skidded turns up on the steeps and be just fine. As long as it doesn't get too icy, then it'll feel a little bit slippy, but friendly enough to ride in some steep terrain in a very mellow way. And off-piste, it's actually super fun. It's not extremely technical. So again, if edge hold is super important, then it probably won't excel there, but it's so quick to turn and maneuver that it's really fun to ride in some trees and just kind of like play around off-piste or take it through a couple snake runs or slalom courses or whatever. It's just fun to like play around. If you are the type of rider that wants to just go play all mountain, then this board will do that for you. So when you get down to Groomers, this is the type of board that is like buttering the groomer, going over there and seeing what that is, and then going and finding a little like cat trap drop and tree jib and something over there. It's not like gonna straight line down the run. It wants to kind of explore and turn and play around. It's a true twin. So you can ride switch. It feels great, switch or regular. And that being said, in the powder, it is a true twin, but because of the flat to rocker camber profile, it's going to turn well in powder. It's going to float in powder. It won't sink right away. Maybe on some super deep days, you might want a more powder specific board, but for most average storms, this board should do very well in most of those conditions. And if you want, you can even set it back just a little bit more, just to add a little extra float. But it should handle well in some deeper snow without sinking too much. So it's not really a carver on Groomers. It can, but it's not going to give you that energy back from the turns like a board with more positive camber somewhere in there will do. You could carve it, but it's going to be like a more, lower speed carver or less dynamic carver. But it definitely lives in more of that small to medium radius turns. It likes the skidded turns, and it just kind of likes to play around. Bringing it into the park, this is where this board kind of lives. It loves freestyle riding. It's super friendly for it. You can take off switch, you can spin, you can land a little off, and it's just going to spin around for you. You're not going to catch an edge on it. It's a lot harder to catch an edge on this board than it would be with a board with a little bit stiffer flex or some more positive camber to it. Friendly enough for a beginner park rider. You know, it's really easy to get on a box or a rail, and it's just like kind of catch free, and you just go with it. You don't have to try too hard to get it onto a feature. It's not going to have a ton of pop, but it will have enough for like a small to medium feature, small to medium jump. It'll feel good in there. So on rails, this board just has that personality. You could just like catch it under your feet and roll on to any round feature. It feels really great for that. It's like a fun, free-flowing park board for sure. Good enough for small to medium features. Once you get into some bigger features, bigger jibs, it would be fine. It might take a little extra ollie power than something with some positive camber to get on some bigger features, but it could definitely play on a variety of different jib features. But once you hit into like some bigger jumps, you're probably going to want something a little bit more stable, a little bit more snappy and energetic. Really fun in some slush park, really fun in some slush pipe. Probably not good for a winter condition pipe, but if you have a spring pipe, the Space Metal is there. Like, it'll be super fun for some slushy, slashy turns on some walls. And then bringing this back to the other part of this board, it's friendly enough for a beginner to get on and kind of learn how to turn and learn how to ride on. It has a softer flex, so it's very forgiving. It has a really forgiving camber profile, where you don't have to worry about catching edges if you're just learning how to turn. And it's a fairly inexpensive board, so it's a great entry-level board if you're just looking to get into the sport and you don't want to drop a bunch of money on a super technical board. Spend it on the Space Metal and it'll bring you up to the intermediate zone. So who is the Space Metal for? Could be for a beginner rider who's looking for a really forgiving board that is easy to turn, or if you are a rider looking for a really playful freestyle board that can just like play everywhere, the Space Metal would be good for that. So that's a look at the Space Metal Fantasy from Capita. If you're looking for the full write-up and review, head over to thegoodride.com to check it out.